over the course of the next hour, you're gonna see exactly why this is the only sales and closing guide you will ever need. Look, you guys probably see all these different videos online with these sales gurus telling you do sales this way, do sales this way. Guys, this is going to be the easiest guide you're ever going to need to learn how to do sales. And what makes me qualified to tell you that? Well, I used to suck at sales and I had no idea how to communicate. I was very shy. I wasn't confident in my communication. I even thought that sales was gross. I wanted nothing to do with sales. Until I learned the strategy, until I learned I could sell my own services, I could sell my own products, I could sell things that were actually fun to sell. And I think a lot of the time sales gurus make it sound so complicated online, but this is going to be the easiest sales framework you've probably ever learned. It's literally so easy, it could fit on one page, and you don't need these 12-page scripts or any of this bull crap that these other guys tell you about. And take it from me, my company's closed over $20 million in a single year, whether it be $1,000 deals or $100,000 deals. I'm going to explain to you exactly how you can do this too. And if you're a complete rookie at sales, if you're a complete newbie, you're still going to get tons of value out of these next 60 minutes. And you're going to come a far way from where you started. You're going to feel like you took a gigantic leap forward. So in this video, I don't want to waste any more time. Let's jump right into the sales techniques that you need to know. My sales framework that allowed me to go from a broke DoorDash driver to a multimillionaire in just a few years. The easiest sales framework you're ever going to find on the internet, I guarantee it. Almost $30 million of sales using the exact frameworks and techniques I'm going to be sharing with you here tonight. And all of that was in the past 2 to 3 years. All in the past 2 to 3 years. So I'm very excited to be sharing this information with you guys tonight. And you can feel confident who it's coming from because I've personally done 8 figures of sales in a few years using the concepts, the frameworks, the things I'm going to share with you tonight. And this is crazy to say, all for free. So literally, this is everything that you really are going to, not everything, but it's going to be, I'm going to try and jam pack as much content, as much value into this here tonight. So I'm going to leave the Q&A for the end, so that way we can dive into this topic. I'm sure there's a lot of people here eager tonight. If you're eager to learn about sales tonight and how you could use it to completely change your life, type in the chat sales. Just type the word sales in the chat if you're very excited to talk about this here tonight. That way I know that you're ready, you're here with me. And the recording will be posted to YouTube, will be posted to the Facebook group, everything like that. So just to cover quickly as well why this is so important, a lot of people ask me, what is the best investment to use 0% interest funding? And personally, my answer is in yourself. Yourself is the greatest investment that you can make. And the more that you have control over your streams of income, the more likely it's going to go the way that you want it to go, right? Don't you ever feel frustrated when, you give control over to someone else and it doesn't go the way that you want? Well, when you are at cause over learning a skill like sales, your income is directly proportional to the amount of self-development that you do. And what you put in is what you're going to get out. The more you hone in on this skill, the more you have the flexibility to do anything with your income streams. You have more authority and power in terms of hiring people, managing a team, and as well as closing deals, right? So there's so much power in this. And we're going to talk about many ways in which you can do this. So we're going to break it down into 5 sections here tonight. We're going to break it down into number 1, attitude, because this is the number 1 thing that you need to have in sales is a good attitude. We're going to talk about a standard operating procedure that you could go based off of day to day, no matter whether you are making 10 to 20K a month in commissions as a salesperson working for someone else's offer, or if you're making 50K to 100K a month selling your own offer, right? So we're going to talk about those 2 various avenues. We're also going to break down I wrote it all down. Prospecting, because this is also very important in sales, whether you're doing cold calling or whether you need leads. Leads are extremely important. We're going to talk about setting appointments, and we're going to talk about closing finally. So it's very important we go in this order because it stacks on top of each other. You know, what you do to get to a final close where you're able to pretty much dictate your income and control it, you know, it's going to go in this order. So, and I'll make this clear again for you guys. It is totally possible. Now, everyone might not achieve this, but, you know, if you really work hard at it and you really, you know, put your mind to it and you're very successful with it and you develop really good communication skills, and if you do a really good job at that, it's possible for you to do this in commissions with the right offer, and this in revenue for your business per month. This is on a monthly basis if you learn the skill, and you could pretty much dictate that for the rest of your life. So I think this is a very valuable skill for anyone to know who wants to be in control of their own income. And guys, if at any point during this, by the way, you're interested in getting 0% interest funding for your businesses and investments, if you're already a member of our program, just type the word member in the chat. But if you are new and you're interested at any time, just text this phone number on the screen, or you could even text in the chat your credit score and your phone number in the chat. Only my team will see it, and we could connect with you about 0% interest funding. So let's dive into this, guys. Let's not waste any more time. So this is going to be our agenda today. This is everything that we're going to cover. There's going to be a lot jam-packed into this. So let's just jump right into it. So the first thing I want to cover, right, is attitude, because you need to have a winning attitude in sales. In your guys' opinion, what are some qualities of a successful salesperson, right? And note, while you guys are throwing this in the chat, right, some people here, you know, may be turned off by the idea of sales. Me personally, I was also feeling that same way when I first got started. I had no interest in it until I learned I could sell my own stuff and help people with things that I chose that I want to help people with. And it became something that became part of my life. Whether we all like it or not, we're all salespeople some way. We're always closing, like our wife on an idea, our children, our parents, family, friends. We always have some kind of idea that we want to pass along to them and get them hooked on that idea, right? So what are some good, so one person already said confidence, right? Another one is certainty. Guys, you got to be like super certain whatever it is that you're selling. Whether it be like a real estate property, whether it be like a service that you offer, right? Maybe you have an existing business that's doing like $10,000, $20,000 a month and you want to be doing more revenue, right? You need to have certainty in what you sell, you know, for other people to want to buy it, right? If you don't have any certainty or confidence in what it is that you sell, then no one's going to want it, right? Additionally, it's good to also explain that there are going to be tons of ups and downs in sales. Like there's going to be times where you don't get a sale for like a week and you don't make money for a whole week, and it feels awful, like that you're not making any money, that you can't close any deals, and you're going to experience a lot of ups and downs. There's going to be really great moments, there's going to be really bad moments, but when you can push through all those downs, I promise you, it feels like every single day is an up. There's going to be annoying days, but for the most part, you're going to feel so much more confident in your ability to actually sell and do things, right? Another really good attitude point is just being honest. Whether it's honest with yourself, being transparent with your clients, with your prospects, honesty is extremely important too, right? Overall, your attitude is going to dictate what you put out to the calls, right? So, you know, before you even start considering anything sales, you want to make sure that you have a good attitude. And it's kind of a really simple point to point out early on in the beginning, but it's like, I find it overlooked. I find even sometimes I catch this on my own team, or I catch this with myself, right? That if you have a poor attitude going into anything, you're not going to get much out of it. So
what you put out is the energy you're going to get back on the call. And people are going to see through that. And if you aren't coming with your best energy, without your best certainty, without your best confidence, all these key points, then you're going to struggle. So it's very important. Another big key here, right, guys? I'm just going to kind of loop it into one, is just communication, right? You have to have an attitude that you're willing to communicate, that you're willing to help people. And there's a lot that we're going to talk about in terms of how to better your communication, in terms of taking calls, talking to people, breaking that, that scared mindset, right? Talk about being confident, right? During my first sales calls, I was maybe scared to pick up for the phone for the first 3 hours. I did not want to pick up the phone for the first 3 hours I was ever on a sales job, because I was that scared to talk to people. You just want to have confidence, and at some point you're going to have to pick up the phone, so you might as well go pick up the phone, right? Very basic rudiments, but very important to bring into every sales call, every conversation that you're going to have. So you're going to want to have those attitude points in. So very, very, very important. So there's more I could talk about in terms of attitude, but number one thing before even diving into the rest of this training is have a good attitude going into all of this, because if you don't have a good attitude, it's just not going to work. Attitude is probably the number one thing overall. I've seen very talented salespeople fail, and I've seen hardworking, untalented people do better, right? So be willing to be hardworking, be willing to accept failure, because it's going to happen. There's going to be ups and downs, and push through it. Have a good attitude about it, because at the end of the day, your intention should be there to help people, right? And that was one that I was thinking of before, but I forgot. Having strong intention, right? Having strong intention to want to help people, and the selling will do itself, right? Plus the framework that I'm going to give you how to guide through the calls. So overall, that's the number one thing, right? Having a good attitude before diving into any of this. Now, in terms of a day-to-day, right? Say maybe that you're just starting out, maybe you have an idea, a service that you want to sell, or an actual physical product that you want to sell, or maybe you want to work for someone else and sell their product or service, right? Everything's going to start with knowing what your day-to-day actually looks like. And depending on the company that you work for, this may be a little bit different, but I find overall, in terms of a very general, broad sales role, if you're selling something, your day-to-day should look something like this, right? So we're going to talk about kind of 2 SOPs, right? We're going to talk about what it looks like to be by yourself. And we're going to talk about what it looks like to maybe have 2 or 3 people on your team and you being the main closer, right? Your day is going to be structured in a beginning of day activities, middle of day activities, and end of day activities. My team does the same thing. This is exactly what I personally have used to generate over $30 million of sales, right? So on a team of 1 person, right, you're really responsible for all the prospecting, all the closing, all the sales, everything like that, right? So the first things that you end up doing in the beginning of the day are essentially checking for leads, right? Lead management, right? You want to make sure that your inbound leads are coming in, that you have fresh outbound lists that you're going to dial from. However, you're getting leads, right? This is not going to be a marketing workshop. We're going to talk a little bit about prospecting, but you got to make sure that your leads are coming in. You need people to call. You need to confirm your appointments in the morning. This is so simple, so basic, but I'll be honest, I even catch people on my team forget to do this. And I have people on my team here right now, and they're probably like, stop calling me out, stop saying that bull crap, but it's true. If you aren't confirming your deals in the morning, you're going to miss deals in the middle of the day, which is when you're doing your sales calls. The whole day consists of sales calls, but The way you get those sales calls is doing your lead management in the morning to make sure that people are showing up, to make sure that you have people to talk to. You want to ensure that you're confirming your appointments in the morning and that you're taking care of your calendar, right? When you're on a team of 2 to 3 people, you'll have people doing that for you. And really, you're just checking in with those people to make sure that they're actually setting you those appointments, right? But overall, it's a lot of the same thing. You're doing sales calls in the middle of the day, and then at the end of the day, you're, confirming the next day's appointments. And as well as this one's important. There's so much more that you do, but this is just going to be a very basic closing guide. As well as recording your stats. Another thing that you do in the beginning of the day, oh my God, I can't believe I forgot this, is drilling. So there's 2 ways that you can drill, ever. You could drill with your team, with yourself. You could drill with yourself or your team, or you could drill on your clients, and one of them costs you money, right? So you might as well drill with yourself, with your team, make sure that you guys are ready for the day, drill your objection handling, drill, digging into, negative perspectives, finding someone's motivation to actually go ahead and do something, right? Doing those drills in the beginning of the day are going to warm you up for your sales calls in the middle of the day. And then at the end of the day, you're really just confirming the next day's appointments, following up with any deals that, you took in the middle of the day that didn't close in the middle of the day, and then closing those deals at the end of the day. But making sure that you're confirming the next day's appointments and filling in your stats so you could track your production and make sure that you're hitting the numbers that you're supposed to be hitting. Because if you don't have a high close rate, maybe you're not selling correctly, or maybe the prospects aren't good enough, right? If a bunch of people are not showing, maybe you've discovered that you're not sending enough material before the call to get these people interested, or you're not actually confirming appointments yourself, right? You need to have stats to actually evaluate your production, so that way you know what you're doing is right or wrong, right? I mean, essentially these 2 SOPs are the same, but it all follows the same thing. In the morning, before you even start, you're drilling, you're making sure that you're top notch for the day, you're ensuring that your leads are there, you're making sure that any text blasts, any email blasts, any ads, they're all good, they're all working, that your sales calls are there, and you're confirming that those sales calls are going to show up. Throughout the whole day, you're just doing sales calls, and then you're confirming appointments at the end of the day and filling in your stats and following up with your hot follow-up list, right? This is going to be your day-to-day of what it looks like to be in sales, right? And if you're doing this effectively, if you're maximizing your calendar, if you're really working super hard, putting in as much numbers, right, as you can, whether it be outbound dials, live calls, qualified talk time with prospects, and so forth, right? The more that you're putting into this during the time that you have in the day, the more you're going to get out of it, right? But you obviously are going to want to make sure that your skills are top notch and that you're talking to the right people. All right, cool. So those are the first 2 things, right? Having a great attitude, right? You don't want to show up unprepared. You don't want to show up with a bad attitude. You don't want to show up with negative energy. You obviously want to show up ready to help the person in front of you, having strong intention to do so, having a lot of honesty on your calls, because that's one of the parts of the framework that I'm going to share with you tonight. Having a lot of confidence and certainty in whatever it is that you sell, right? And really being ready to approach the call with a good attitude. And then following with that, right, having a good day-to-day structure laid out for you on how you're going to go about doing all of this, right? How to manage your leads effectively. Drilling, right? Ensuring that you're drilling parts of your sales framework, right? Drilling, different parts of the close, whether it be practicing DocuSign, or whether it be practicing signing the contract, whether it be practicing prospecting, whether it be practicing closing objections, right? Drilling is going to be essential to every single morning. Throughout the day, you're taking those sales calls. At the end of the day, make sure you log your stats and that you're confirming your appointments for the next day. These two things I find really like a lot of problems with sometimes. So I couldn't really talk about closing without these things here, right? So let's talk about prospecting, right? Different ways to prospect and find leads, right? There's so many different ways to get leads, guys. And this isn't going to be like a how-to on marketing, but this is just going to explain to you what buckets you could search for people for. And it's going to vary based on the services that you offer. You know, I talk a lot about Facebook groups being a very easy way to get free leads without having to pay for any money. And all you have to do is message people. All you have to do is post in groups, right? And you could very quickly attract people to hop on phone calls with. You also have Instagram, making organic content, right? You could be like Andrew Imbesi and, film YouTube ads, right? You have blogs, right? You have, for me, right? We're going to soon get started with Lending Tree, right? That's like for me, right? But there's many similar websites like blogs, right? You could also hop on podcasts, right? Other people's audiences. I'm just going to write OPA for other people's audiences, right? You could go door to door. You could get cold call lists from companies like Seamless.ai. You could do cold outbound on LinkedIn. There's so many ways to get leads, right? But the most important thing is that you're actually reaching out to these leads, because they're not going to talk to you unless you start a conversation or give them something to engage with, right? No one came here and talked to me without first seeing my YouTube ad, right? I put out an ad, then I get an influx of people talking to me. I put out a post, I get an influx of people talking to me. I, message someone, they message me back, right? So prospecting is extremely important. And where do you put that in terms of your SOP or day-to-day? This is something that I'd probably put into the beginning of the day and the end of day. I would spend the middle of the day doing sales calls, but if you don't have sales calls, then I'm reaching out to leads and I'm prospecting. I'm getting people on my calendar, trying to find people that I can sell something to so I could help them solve their problem or help them achieve their goal, whatever it may be, right? Overall, there's so many different ways to do this, right? You have free leads and you have paid leads, right? So you really just want to find what is really the best strategy for you and set a target, right? Set a target for yourself on what you need to produce. Set a target for yourself. How much outflow do you need to do to produce the amount of sales that are going to make you $10,000 to $20,000 a month in commissions, or $50,000 to $100,000 in revenue for your business, right? How much outflow do you really need to be doing to hit your target? Determine that, right? Especially once you get your first couple sales, right? At first, it's going to be challenging. If you've never sold anything before, it's going to be challenging. Closing that first deal is going to take a while. But once you do it once, you're going to feel so confident that you can do it again. I promise. That's exactly how I felt. And it felt so good when I closed that first deal. It was amazing, right? But find out how much work it's supposed to take you, right? A good benchmark here is that you should be closing at least 30% of your true closing calls. And if you're in the right bucket, it should take you about 100 people to find your first one. Now, these 100 people don't all have to respond to you. Let's assume maybe it's like a 50% of people, which would be 50 people are responding. It probably wouldn't even be that high. But if I'm talking to 10 people, I'm probably closing anywhere between 1 to 3 of them. An ideal closing rate would be 30% of people who are genuinely interested in hopping on an actual sales call. It's not 30% of everyone that you talk to. Like, you take all those people that actually hopped on a legitimate sales call, and that's how you get your 30% closing rate. right? But these leads aren't going to come to you, right? You have to go out there, find them, pull them in for whatever product or service that you're looking for. And you do that through understanding who your avatar is, right? Who needs your help? Who needs your services, right? Say maybe that you have a cleaning business, right? Say you have a cleaning business, you live in Miami, and you're trying to find more clients for your cleaning business, right? Well, maybe I'd leave promotions at all these shops on the street. I would leave just like little flyers, little postcards, little business cards, and I would be dropping them off at every single small business that I could possibly find to advertise my cleaning services. And now you have inbound leads coming in, right? You just have to find a very stable source to find and attract leads. For me, I felt like the best place to find those people were on YouTube ads. Why? Because I was always buying things on YouTube ads, right? So I knew it was something that works, and I knew it was going to attract the person that I wanted to help and want to work with, right? So bottom line here is really identify where you're going to locate your leads, how you're going to pull them in through really good prospecting, communicating with them, outreaching to them, and so forth, right? Cool. So we talked about already halfway through all of this, right? We're going to start getting to the meat and potatoes, the communication frameworks, everything like that, right? So let's talk about actually setting appointments, right? So, and then we're going to get into closing. Closing's going to be really good. So setting appointments, right? Ideally now at this point, you've put out some advertisements. I'm going to draw more a little bit. Ideally, you've put out some advertisements, whether it be on Facebook groups, right? You know, on Instagram, on YouTube ads, right? You've created marketing material. Or maybe you haven't. Maybe you're going to just go out there and do cold calling. This next part for the setting is going to apply for both inbound and outbound leads, whatever it may be, right? And so you've put out your marketing, and now it's time to start communicating and talking to people, right? So I want to break down like a 4-step setting framework that is going to help you guys start setting more appointments, start getting more people on the calendar that you can talk to, and finding more qualified people that you can ultimately work with, right? So the first step of all of this, right, is essentially your introduction. Is essentially building rapport, right? Introducing yourself. There's a lot that goes into this, right? But it's supposed to be really short, right? Introduce yourself. Hey, my name is Andrew Imbesi, and I'm calling because I saw that you were interested in 0% interest funding, right? Simple as that. They know who I am. You know, they know what I'm calling about, right? And you want to be upfront about it, right? And just be genuine and honest and say, hey, look, I found you here. I saw that you either opted into my stuff, or I saw that you were a business owner and that you're making like 6 figures a year, right? You could get this stuff from cold lists, right? So say that you're doing these cold dials from Seamless AI, right? Which is a software that pulls leads of whoever you want to talk to. You could identify business owners and reach out to business owners. I could find the business owner 2 blocks away from me, call them and say, hey, I see that you're running a business. Would you be interested in funding your business? Right? My name is Andrew Imbesi, and blah, 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 blah. Which essentially is what the second step actually is. Make yourself known. Right? So obviously you're on that call and you don't want to be a stranger, right? You want to introduce yourself and say, hey, I help people get funding, or hey, I help people, have a clean home. Hey, I help people, fix their pools, and I saw that you have a pool. I was on Google Maps. I looked up your address. I saw that you have a pool. I saw that you responded to my ad. I saw that you were interested in solar, right? And I help people get solar, right? Whatever it may be, right? But make yourself known. Just be honest and, come out and actually start talking to the person, which is really like the big tip here, right? It's just really talking to the person. And this is just simply setting the appointment. We're not getting into closing yet. This is just simply setting up a further discussion, right? You could use a closing framework on a setting call, sure, especially if it's a super warm and hot lead. But I want to break this down like very simple for everyone here. So, you're introduced yourself on the call, you made yourself known on what you do and how you help people, right? And obviously there's going to be pushback on the call, but we're going to talk more about that during closing and how you handle that. So you make yourself known, and from there, you identify the person's needs and wants. Right, let's take my own offer, for example. Right, let's say like I'm selling my own offer of 0% interest funding. If anyone has like a business suggestion on maybe something that they sell that they would like for me to use as an example, let me know in the chat if there's a particular business or something that you would like for me to share with you in the chat. For me to sell, like in terms of this framework, practicing setting an appointment. So business funding. All right, I'll use business funding. So, right, so I come in, right, and I say, hey, like, my name's Andrew Imbesi, and I help people get funding for their businesses and investments. I saw that you actually, opted into my advertisement, and I was curious what had you interested in funding? Like, what do you want to get out of this, right? Even just simply stating, like, what do you want? Or what do you need this for, is going to start getting some answers, and you're going to be able to start digging into it, right? It's like, I have a real estate business that I want to fund. That's amazing, right? Give them an acknowledgement. Man, there's so much more I could talk about with this topic, but, give them a straight acknowledgement, right? Oh, great. That's awesome. I'm happy to hear that. Always give an acknowledgement. Whenever you get a reply, guys, whenever you're actually communicating with someone in a sales call, always give them an acknowledgement. So it's like, great, you want to start a real estate business? That's amazing. How much money do you need for your real estate business? Well, I want to fix and flip properties, and I need about $100,000 to get started with my first flip. That is awesome. I definitely know that's something that we can help you with, as long as you have a good enough credit score, right? Which we're going to start getting into the second part here. And we're just talking about an appointment set. Someone wants to do advertising to be sold by an agency. So we'll do that next. So once you start digging into their needs and wants, right? It's like, okay, so you want $100,000 for a fix and flip. Okay, great. So have you tried anything in the past? Like, how fast are you looking to get access to this funding? How urgent is it? What's the current state of your living situation right now? Why is this important for you to do at this moment? Well, we can help you with this. And I'd like to set up a time with you to show you exactly how we can help you with this. It's really as simple as that. And I don't want to overcomplicate it, because simple is what really works. Simple works. Complicated is just going to throw everyone off. I think a lot of my biggest mistakes in sales were the fact that it was at first presented to me in a way that seemed so complicated that I couldn't understand it, and I had a hard time selling anything. So I want to make this as simple as possible. This is maybe like 14 words, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 words, guys. 10 words just organized in 4 steps, and this is how you set appointments. Really simple as that. There's more stuff that I could talk about, in terms of communication, right? You send a communication to someone, they send something back to you. You would obviously acknowledge whatever it is. I'm just going to draw like a person here. You acknowledge the fact that they sent whatever it may be back to you, and then you start. I'm going to just draw a square. You send the next idea, right? They receive the idea. They acknowledge the fact that you sent over the idea. They send back a triangle now, right? You receive the fact that it's a triangle. You let the person understand, hey, I understand that you sent me a triangle, right? And now I'm going to send you another question after I've acknowledged the fact that you've sent this to me. Very basic communication stuff, right? It's just like it almost doesn't, like, you almost don't remember A lot of people do it naturally, but sometimes we need to be told like, hey, look, acknowledge the person when they say something to you. Very important in sales, right? Right? Because the last thing you want is your prospect to feel like you're not actually interested in them or actually listening to them, right? So there's a lot that we could actually talk about here, but overall, let's do advertising, right? So say, let's just pick a random thing, right? I'm gonna close my eyes and I'm just gonna pick something on the screen. Okay, YouTube ads, right? Say that you're running YouTube ads for an advertising agency and you're getting leads, right? Maybe this person did not schedule a call on your calendar, so it was not an auto booking, right? When I say auto booking, I mean someone opted in, they watched the video, they got the calendar, and they booked a call, right? We're talking about, say, someone who just opted in but never even made it through to the booking a call part, right? So this is just someone who saw your services and they were interested, but they never reached out or anything, right? Give this person a call. Say, hey, let's use the name Fred, right? Hey, Fred, how are you doing? This is Andrew Imbesi. Oh, I'm doing good. Like, things are going well. Oh, that's great. Well, I'm reaching out to you today because I noticed that you had checked out my information online and you're possibly interested in getting advertising for your business. Does that ring a bell? Have you seen anything about me online? Oh, yeah, I do remember, seeing that ad, and I am a little bit interested, but now is not a good time. Well, it's only going to take 3 minutes to share the fact that, we've been advertising for businesses for quite some time now, and we just wanted to see if there was a time that we could schedule to help you with your business. What's the number one thing that you're running into your business? And are you getting leads or are you not getting leads? Blah, 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 right? And you want to just start diving into it, right? Find out, list out those questions that you want to ask a business owner. Right? The things that, and revolve these questions around the thing that these people are the most interested in. Find out what it is your prospect actually is interested in and identify their needs and wants by asking them questions that are particular to their problem or their situation. Maybe you're an advertising agency and the reason why people are opting in is simply because, hey, what has you interested in advertising? Simple question. Well, I feel like I'm not getting enough leads. What ways do you get leads? How much are you spending per lead that you get? Right? Whatever it may be. Oh, I don't have a set way of getting leads. Oh, got it. Well, here's the deal. I could show you a very standard way how I'm helping my clients get $10 leads and how I could do the same for you with your business. When are you free for a call? Right? Very simple, setting the appointment, right? Just using this formula right here to set the appointment, right? And then the goal is making sure that you set the appointment. And then I'm going to add a 5th step here called a lock-in step. Make sure that this appointment is actually locked in. When you're setting this appointment, making sure that you send the Zoom link, making sure that they actually see the Zoom link in their email. A lot of times this is missed. I'm a victim of it. I've missed this before. I've seen people on my team miss it all the time. Making sure that they actually have that Zoom link in their email or they have the next date confirmed. It's blocked off in their calendar. Simple on the phone. Hey, did you get the Zoom link in your email for Thursday at 5 o'clock? Yes, I did. Okay, great. And is there any reason why you wouldn't be able to attend that Thursday at 5 o'clock? No, there's not. Are there any business partners that are doing this with you that need to be part of this call? Oh, yeah, there actually is one. Okay, could you confirm that they are actually free? Okay, great. Now, if you have any questions before we actually hop on that call, you could text me back on this phone number and I could respond to you usually at the beginning or the end of the day or in between different other calls I'm on. Got it. Sounds good. Okay, awesome. So before this call, I just want to send you a video. If you could watch, it's 10 minutes. Take a look at this video before our call. Boom. Lock in that appointment. Make sure that they have content to watch, make sure that they're prepared, right? Make sure that the scene is going to be set properly for you to make your sale, right? Because at that scheduled call, you want to make sure that they're in an environment where they could be sold. You're not going to sell someone who's driving. You can, I've done it, but it's not preferred. You want to make sure that someone is in a quiet location, focused, ready to put their full undivided attention on you, right? I love this training. Are you sending the whiteboard to us when done? I will put this on YouTube. So I will put this on YouTube. If you want to take a screenshot, you can take a screenshot of my screen, but I am going to put this on YouTube. So you will be able to watch back, which is awesome. So, and there's only so much that I can cover in an hour, and I still want to fit in Q&A at the end, but I want to make sure that I'm covering all the basics, like all the basic frameworks. So you could actually at least go out there and have things to go based off of, like the absolute essentials, right? I could make a full video about communication. Like I can talk 5 hours about communication and not exhaust the topic, right? Same with sales. I could be talking about sales for a very long time, but I want to make sure I condense all the effective information into one video for you guys. So far, right, we've talked about number 1, having the right attitude going into doing all of this, right? Number 2, we talked about SOP, and I should have talked a little, SOP stands for standard operating procedure, and I should have done a little bit more about talking about targets, which we still got the opportunity to talk about later on, but making sure that you're setting targets for yourself. Guys, like throughout your SOP, like you need to have targets. You need to know like, hey, I have a goal of making $10,000 a month. I want to make $10,000 a month. How many calls do I have to make every single day? How many posts on Instagram do I have to make every single day? How many leads do I need every single day? How many sales calls do I have to hop in every single day? Track those stats every single day, at the end of every day, drill at the beginning of every day. If you have a sales guy on your team that says, I don't need to drill, that guy is completely wrong. I still drill every single day on everything. And I'm really good. I'm going to be honest. I'm pretty damn good. And could I be better? Yeah, I could be way better. And how do I get better? I drill. The best, the most elite closers I know still drill every single day. And these guys have closed 9 figures plus. Even maybe 1 or 2 of them have closed over $1 billion all by themselves, right? And they still drill every single day, 100%. So set targets here for yourself. Have a good standard operating procedure. Someone asked, what is drilling? Drilling could also take place of the word role playing, practicing, drilling, making sure that your skills are like top notch. Drilling the introduction of a call, drilling the identifying needs and wants part of the call, right? You're practicing parts of the call, you're practicing parts of your day, you're practicing following up with leads, you're practicing a lot of different things, right? You want to practice before you produce. Practice before you produce. I'm actually going to use that. That kind of just came off the top of my head, but it's true. And that's what we do every single day. We practice before we produce. We don't produce without practicing. If you don't practice before you produce, you're going to practice on your clients and you're going to lose money and you're going to be pissed. So practice before you produce. Don't forget that, right? And then even if that means watching a video on sales, if it's only you, practice to yourself in the mirror. Listen to yourself speak. Listen to yourself before you hop on the call. Do you sound authentic? Do you sound certain? Do you sound confident? Do you know what you're talking about? Are you ready to help people today? Do you have strong intention? Practice before you produce. And then make sure that your leads are coming in from different places. Guys, there's an endless amount of leads. You will never run out of leads. You will never run out of leads. I'm telling you, there is so many people out there who need something. You just have to pick up the phone and call. You have to just open your computer and post something. Let me know if you gain confidence by repeating things. Gain more confidence the more times you do something. So let's talk about closing. Oh, dang, it says my internet is on. Let me know in the chat if you guys can hear me. It said my internet is unstable. Yes. Okay, great. Cool. So let's talk about closing now, right? Now at this point, I just want to think about everything I've said so far. At this point, I feel very confident that someone could probably get a deal on their calendar. And by the way, this is the same as it is on a phone call as it is in a text message. It would be the same thing. If you're texting someone, I want to just make sure I cover setting appointments enough, right? Hey, name, what's up? Right? And then someone, got the little typing emoji. It's like, hey, name, hey, do I know you? Right? Even type it out to yourself, guys, right? Like as simple as this, right? It's like, I am name. I noticed you do blah. And guys, you're going to get people who hang up on you, and then you're going to get people who are actually interested. I noticed you do blah. How is that? Or, like, how is that? Or do you need blah? And all you need is for someone to come back and say yes. And that's it. And then you just ask for a time to speak later. That's it. The same thing. I've set thousands of deals through Facebook groups, doing this exact same conversation thousands of times. Literally this exact same conversation thousands of times. I've made hundreds, if not hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars doing this exact same text conversation. And you know what? No, I've definitely made millions because you know what? I still do this to this day. I'm sure there's probably people on my team who's done a very similar thing, whether it's doing this message first or this message first. We do this message first for text blasts all the time. Someone says yes, and we set an appointment. We do this every single day. Very simple. And another good way to do it, guys, do this. Here's another way that's going to help you with setting appointments. Just take other people's sales calls. Go to your elite competition, the elite competitors, the best people in your industry, and go listen to their calls and just take notes. Take the framework that I showed you guys here today and decode it for yourself, right? Listen to their introduction. Listen to how they do their introduction. See how they make themselves known. Like observe and write down the questions that they use to identify your needs and wants. And watch and take notes on how they present an appointment to you, right? If you're struggling with this, go and listen to a pro do it in real time. Go opt into their funnel, take a sales call with their team. Don't say anything, it's going to suck. It's going to happen to me probably. All my sales guys are going to kill me now. And they're going to be like, oh my God, like I'm going to go listen to Andrew's team's calls. But I would do this too. So you know what goes around comes around. Screw it. But I want you guys to actually learn how to do this successfully. So take notes. Find successful people who do this and implement it for yourself or your own business. Right? And the same framework applies for texting as well as it does for calling. Hey name, what's up? Hey, do I know you? I am blah. I noticed you opted into my thing. What had you interested in funding? What had you interested in advertising? What had you interested in cleaning services? Do you run into this with your home? I do. Okay, great. Well, I'd love to set up a time to speak to talk more about it. Now, we haven't talked about anything like rebuttals or objections or things like that, but don't worry, we're going to talk about all those things now. So let's talk about closing. We're going to talk about the framework. So the first step in a closing call is the same as it is in a setting call. It's an introduction, right? And the key here that you know you're okay to move forward with the call is when the prospect offers up an opinion or offers up communication or some kind of opinion, right? You want to make sure that they're wide open to taking the call, right? If I'm talking to someone and I'm like, hey, like, how are you doing? Like, what had you interested in this call? It's like, yeah. Like, before I start selling anything, I'm going to want this person to open up before I continue. It's like, something happened today? It's like, yeah, man, like, my dog died. Oh, dude, I'm so sorry to hear that. That's just not okay. That's never fun when that happens. But don't worry, at least we're on this call today and we're going to make something positive out of this call. Yeah, you're right. We are going to make something positive out of this call. Okay, good. So I'm interested in learning more, right? Now you're moving into your next step, right? So during this part, another thing I'd like to make very important is also qualify. Make sure that this person is going to actually, I'm going to put this under a different step. The second step, and you should try to do this as soon as possible so that way you're not wasting time, is set the intention. Hey, so this call today, we're going to talk about how we can help you get funding for any business or investment. Hey, so this call today, we're going to talk about how we can do advertising for your business, how we could actually inflow a ton of leads and help you actually, blow up your business and increase your sales by getting access to more leads. Just to make sure I'm not wasting your time, what is your monthly budget for marketing? This consists of 2 steps in setting the intention, right? Your intention is what you intend to get out of the call. It's your determination as to what you want to get out of the call, right? And what they want to get out of the call too. The intention should be an agreement between you and the person. Why are you both there? It's because you have some kind of agreement on what you both want to get out of the call. You want to help this person achieve blah. The other person wants to achieve blah, right? So you guys have some kind of agreement. Now, I'm going to break down a little. Agreement cannot be left out without emotion. Everyone has both agreement and emotion towards something, whatever that communication is, right? Think about baseball, right? Now, I might like baseball. I used to play baseball as a kid, right? This is Andrew. But then we're going to use Fred again, our fake character. Fred doesn't like baseball, right? So we could tell here that the emotional feeling toward baseball is not the same, right? So you're not going to have a lot of communication when there's not a lot of shared emotion or shared agreement between something. This is so important to bring into all of your calls, right? So you want to make sure that Fred likes baseball. If Fred likes baseball and has strong feelings about baseball, is very enthusiastic about baseball, don't you think you're going to talk to Fred more about baseball than if he were angry about baseball, right? You're not going to have a lot of things to talk about if you like baseball and Fred does not like baseball, right? And baseball could be anything. I'm just using it as an example. This could be advertising, right? If Fred doesn't like advertising, he's not going to want to talk to you about advertising, right? And you're not really going to have much to talk about, right? Which is why it's so important that you get good prospects on your call before you even talk to them. And you could figure that out by doing a quick set appointment. But you want to make sure that you qualify these people. You make sure that they have the money, that they have the need, right? It's like, how soon are you looking to do? Like, hey, look, on this call today, we're going to talk about how you could get advertising done for your business in a very cheap and effective way that also increases your sales. On this call, I am also going to ask you for an investment in your business and in yourself. Given that everything makes sense, are you ready to move forward with that today? Set that intention right in the beginning of the call. Just be like, look, we are on this call because I have something to show you that is going to help you achieve your goal, and I need you to buy at the end of the call if it makes sense. Are you in with that? Or do we have agreement? Do we agree that this is the direction of the call? And you don't do it angry or like very persistent the way I'm doing it. You obviously do it in a very high tone, good way, while being very interested in helping the prospect, right? Because you genuinely should be interested in actually helping the person. I don't know how one of the number one reasons why salespeople don't stick is because they don't have a strong enough conviction in the offer. So you have to have strong conviction in what you do, or you're not going to feel good about talking about it, right? So set the intention strong in the beginning. Qualify the person, make sure that they're qualified, and make sure that they're aware that there's going to be an investment at the end of the call. Make sure that they have all their business partners. Make sure that everything is ready for you to get to that close. Figure out all of this stuff early on so you don't waste an entire call doing the next few steps. You don't want to waste your time talking to someone who does not have the intention straight with you. Number one, make sure they're willing to communicate with you in the first step. And number two, set that intention as soon as you can. It's like on a call with me, right? Hey, Fred, I saw that you were interested in funding. You're still interested in that? Yeah, I'm very interested. I have a business that I want to start, and I'm very eager to get this funding. Okay, great. Well, look, I don't want to waste anyone's time. I want to get through this. We have a lot to talk about today, and I want to make sure that this is a good fit for you. So, number one thing before we dive into anything, what is your credit score? Because I can't help you if you don't have a 700 plus credit score, right? And anyone here is obviously interested in 0% interest funding, just drop your phone number and your credit score in the chat and my team can reach out to you. But you obviously qualify the person, right? It's like, do you have the monthly budget necessary to run your agency? It's like, do you actually have to get your home cleaned, right? Like, how motivated are you actually motivated to sell? Will you sell at the end of this call if I can present you something that makes sense? Will you select me as your person to sell your home or whatever it may be? Boom, right? Qualify them. Tell them that there's going to be some kind of transaction at the end of the call. And now you dive into the next step, which I'll just call handle negative perspectives and discovery. I want to define handle for you guys. Handle means to end a cycle. Handle means to end off, to finish off, to terminate. It literally means to end. Go look it up on Google. I'll actually read it on Google really fast for you guys. Let's see. Oh, damn, these definitions suck. All right, well, in my world, I use a different definition than what Google says. Our sales definition of the word handle is to end a cycle. And you want to make sure that all of those negative perspectives are handled early on in the call. Say that let's continue using this advertising agency model, right? And I see that there's some questions in the chat. I'm going to answer all of those questions at the end. So don't worry. I see someone that is, someone said, haha, the typing emoji. It's true. I'm going to answer the questions at the end. So in my universe, handle means to end a cycle. Screw what Google says. Ignore it. You want to be able to handle people on their negative perspectives, on their bad opinions, because a lot of their opinions may actually be based on false data, which is not true. And that needs to be handled, right? Because you need to actually give them the truth and this is how you handle it, right? So the way that you handle anything in life, anything, and I could talk hours about this, how to handle anything in life, how to handle people, and how to do it effectively, right? Before you can move forward with selling, let's use the advertising example. You got to ask questions like, have you ever worked with an advertising agency? How did that go? Did they burn you? Are you opposed to working with an advertising agency? You know, what do you not like about blah, right? Handle negative perspectives, right? There will always be at least one. Unless the guy is just like completely wide open, it's just going to buy like right from the beginning. He's like, I'm buying it no matter what the price is. Just tell me what it is. I'm ready to start, right? You'd still probably want to do this really quick to make sure there's not anything negative to handle. But you end whatever that negative perspective is, you discover what those things are, and you handle it. How do you handle it? It's by using this framework. Number one is first you understand it, right? Let's use an example. This one we use every day. All online programs are scams. I got that. Number two, acknowledge. First, you have to understand it. Make sure that you understand what that negative perspective is. So important. Understand what their agreement is on it. Understand what their emotion is about it, because that's going to dictate on how you acknowledge it, right? All online, like someone being angry, all online programs are a scam, right? It's going to be a lot different from like, all online programs are a scam, man. It's going to be different, right? And you acknowledge it, acknowledging their emotion as well. It's like, dude, I know it's frustrating. There's tons of things out there that just don't work, right? Or, yeah, I get it, man. Look, it sucks just running into things that suck, right? Acknowledge it. And then this is really how you handle it, right? But this stuff is very important, because if you don't do those things, you're gonna F it up. You're gonna make mistakes. So number three, the way that you handle it is you use truth, facts, honesty, and understanding to provide a correct perspective. The thing about stable data is that whenever you knock out a piece of stable data for someone, right? Like apples taste great, and you're knocking it out, you have to replace it with a new stable data. And you're going to blow off confusion while you're doing this. Take someone who thinks online programs are a scam. Take someone who thinks that advertising is bad. Take someone who thinks that like, I'm not going to make money selling my home, right? Whatever it may be. You're going to blow off a lot of confusion. And the only way that you're going to get this person to agree with you is to give them enough truth, facts, honesty, and understanding that makes them adopt a viewpoint that is correct and helps them see a new way of thinking. This is all done before you even handle objections. This is something that is like wildly important when handling people, even on setting calls. But I didn't want to introduce this into setting calls because it doesn't really fit anywhere into the framework. And this is just a piece of information that you can use for those setting calls, right? Maybe you're setting someone, it's like, I heard that you were interested in funding. Oh, I don't want to open up any debt, right? Hey, I got it. Dude, debt sucks. Like bad debt sucks. But if you were to open up good debt, truth, and it were able to make you money doing something that could predictably give you return on investments so that way you weren't stuck in debt, would you be interested? That's all this, guys, right? And the key here to doing this effectively is to fill your brain. Let's just take this as a brain. This is a terrible looking brain, right? Fill it with as much knowledge as you can. The more knowledge that you fill your brain with, The more knowledge that you fill your brain with facts, with truth, with honesty, with understanding, the more you fill your brain with different ways, with different perspectives and ways on how to handle things, the better you're going to be at all of this, right? And that is how you handle people effectively. Another really important little tip here I'd like to use is good roads and good weather. What do I mean by good roads and good weather? I mean, like, man, I get it. The whole world is, terrible. Like inflation rates are up and interest rates are up. And, there's all this like craziness happening like right now. And like the cost of living is terrible. But, at the end of the day, like the good thing is that there's opportunity to change that, right? Being positive about it, right? Like, and that's a true datum. That's true. It's like, I can actually change something about this. There is an opportunity to change it. How do I do it? Right? And that's where your product comes in. That's where you actually solve someone's problem, right? So that's handling negative perspectives, discovering people, discovering things, right? The next step here, I'm just gonna put it here, salvage ruin, is to save someone from whatever it is that they're destroying them. There is some problem, there is some reason, there is some scenario someone is trying to avoid or overcome to achieve the next level. And there is something that they do not want to happen, which is why they're on the call with you. They don't want their house to get more dirty. They don't want to miss out on an opportunity. They, want to take their family on vacations they can't afford. Right? Whatever it may be, there must be a reason why, right? There's something deep down that is destroying them, and it's time to find out what that reason is why, which we'll also call this find the motive. Salvage room means to save from what's destroying you, right? You find the motive. And when people say dig deep, because that was very confusing for me, it just basically means, oh man, I drew this the other day. Now I don't know where it is. Oh my God. Where is it? Oh, it's in here. Here it is. Good thing I freaking wrote this down. All right. Right? So you're going to have whatever their pain point is here. And there's all these different things. This is mine. This is all original here. This right here, right? You're going to have feelings. These are kinds of questions that you can ask. This is how you dig deep. You have consequences, you have outcomes. There's even more that I can add to this, but this is just a couple of things to get your brain going. Lifestyle, right? So you identify like, hey, like, why do you want to advertise? It's like, look, my business isn't doing too well, and if we don't do something about it, we might have to close our doors. Got it. And then just circle the wheel. Dig deeper by circling this wheel. How would that make you feel if you shut the doors to your business? How would that make your employees feel? What would their opinion of you be? Right? Or like, what consequences are you going to have to face at home if you close your business? Are you going to have to go get a job that you don't like? What does that look like? Tell me, how is that going to change your lifestyle if you have to go down this path? Is that really going to make you feel good when you get up in the morning? Dig in there, like really get them to realize like this shit needs to change, right? That's the whole idea here, right? Like get them to realize that like something needs to change. That's the goal here. Like get them to realize something needs to change. Like this outcome cannot happen, right? And once you get there, your pitch, your golden pitch, your pitch is not like every single spec of the car, right? Take a car, let's take like my car. I have like a convertible, right? I have a convertible. It has like sport. I wouldn't have even bought it for sport, to be honest. I just wanted a convertible, right? You just basically anyway, there's tons of different things. It has this engine, it has this air conditioning, it has CarPlay, it has this, it has that, it has blah, 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 blah. None of that stuff is how you sell. Your pitch should be like 30 seconds. That's it. A lot of people, that's going to be a little bit unpopular of an opinion, but let me explain. Your pitch is where you end up talking yourself out of the sale. The best closers in the world do less talking than the prospect. The prospect should be talking 60 to 80% of the time, and you should be talking 20 to 40% of the time. And your pitch should reflect that. It should not be a monologue. It should be as simple as this. It should literally be this. I understand this is your problem. I want to help you solve it. My product helps you solve it. We do this, and that's it. Keep it very simple. Very, very, very simple. And that's all your pitches, right? And it's also not enough to where they talk themselves out of the sale. They ask you all these questions. You want to keep them interested in their problem and the fact that your product solves their problem. At that point, you're going to get to the close. You may have some objections to handle. There's two kinds of objections. They either change their reasoning or their reasoning stays the same. And there's two ways that you handle that, right? Either they change their reasoning or it stays the same. And I call these two objections the scaredy cat objection. And I also call this the legitimate objection. The scaredy cat is when they change their reasons. Like, I need to talk to my wife. Oh, you know what? I don't have the money for it. Oh, you know what? I need some more time. Oh, you know what? They're just looking for any reason to say no, right? Because they're just honestly scared. It's just the truth. If you're looking for reasons to say no, whatever reason you're dreaming up of is the exact reason why you should do it. And that's how you handle a scaredy cat, is you just toss back the reason with flattery. It's very important to be very kind, genuine, validate them, be very honest and truthful without invalidating them or making them wrong, right? Don't make them wrong. That's the number one thing. It's like, oh man, I need some time. It's like, dude, totally got that. Do you think that this would buy you some time? Yeah, it could. Well, let's do it. You know what, man? I need to talk to my wife. Got it. Makes total sense. Does your wife not trust you? No, she trusts me. Great. Then she's not going to have a problem with you doing this, right? Right? It's like I'm doing it very fast, but you want to mix it in with some flattery that's going to lighten them up and make them laugh and make them feel good, right? Without making them feel wrong or putting them in an uncomfortable position, right? But if they keep their reasoning the same over and over, it's like, number one, they should really want to do it. They should really want to do it and they have a legitimate stop, right? It's like, dude, I really want to move forward with this, but my wife is actually going to kill me. You try handling it like a scaredy cat, but they're not budging, right? It's like, oh yeah, you know what? Like, your wife would love you if you did this. Like, dude, I'm telling you, man, my wife will literally kill me. You really think your wife's going to kill you? Yes, we have a gun underneath our bed. She will literally pull it out and kill me. She might divorce me. I might lose my kids, blah, blah, whatever it may be, right? This is just an obviously extreme scenario, but that's how it should feel. And that's how it should be to identify it pretty damn well. And that's when you have to kind of switch your approach to handling their objection, because it's the same objection over and over, and it's a legit stop. Like, I literally cannot do this unless I solve this thing in front of me. And the way that you handle that is you help them solve the thing without solving it. They have to talk themselves into the close. Listen to the close. And do this by offering suggestions. And that is how you handle objections. From there, obviously, you sign the contract, you accept the payment, you route to the onboarding team, and that's it. And that's pretty much most of everything. Now, I'll go over this one more time, the whole sales call. First, you introduce yourself. You're looking for someone to offer up some communication to you. Set the intention of the call, is this live? Yes, this is live. Here. Boom. All right. So introduction, right? Offer up communication, right? Like make sure that the client actually, or the prospect actually wants to communicate with you. Set the intention straight. Like, hey, look, like on this call, like I am going to ask you for an investment at the end. I want to make sure that you're qualified. I don't want to waste your time, blah, blah, blah. And this will weed out the people who are not serious. This will weed out the information gatherers. These will weed out the people that, really don't want to do it. And at that point, you could just send them information on what it is without wasting your time, because you have people to call who are interested in what you have, especially if you're working on a commission basis or you're working by yourself. You don't want to waste time talking to people who are just going to blow time. So that's why you want to set the intention early in the beginning. From there, you're going to ask questions that discover what this person has experienced in the past, what negative perspectives they may have, like, have you guys, like, say maybe they have a business partner. It's like, have you guys ever done a business together? Are you guys often on the same page, right? Like, feel it out, like, find out, like, are you guys going to have problems with your business? Like, are you going to have a problem with moving forward? Have you been scammed in the past? Whatever it may be, right? Find out what their reason to do this is, right? And then explain that your product solves their problem. And if you do this correctly, there should be no reason why they'd say no. And if they say no, it's because you failed to find a negative perspective. You failed to ask the right question that figures it out, right? Because these first 3 steps, if you do these first 3 steps flawlessly, you're not going to have problems when you get to the close. You're not going to have problems because you set the intention early, you qualified the person, they know that there's an investment at the end, you handled their negative perspectives, you helped them walk through all their challenges, you helped them realize that it's all or nothing, like you have to be both feet into any decision you ever make. You help them realize like they need to become the best version of themselves and do whatever it is that you offer. And there shouldn't be any objections if you do this correctly, right? If you actually walk them through all those things and help them realize for themselves why they should do this, right? Because the valuable final product of what you're looking for here is a very satisfied and very excited customer who wants to solve their problem using your product, right? And has completely thrown away all their negative perspectives and decided to work directly with you. So overall, I'm going to post this on YouTube. So that way everyone here can use this guide to close more deals and make themselves some money, right? But at this point, I'm going to answer some questions for y'all for the next like 10, 20 minutes or so. So let's jump right into it. So let's see. All right. So how do we do with Facebook? Oh, actually, let me answer this question. Where can we hire remote closers? That is such a great question. So, there's a lot of places where you could hire closers. LinkedIn, Indeed. Now, I know a lot of you are saying like, oh man, LinkedIn, Indeed. Yeah, there's a lot of applications. It's kind of frustrating. I also like Facebook groups a lot. And something that my company is going to start doing at some point very soon, we want to offer recruiting services, but you could find companies that offer recruiting services. If you're interested in potentially doing some recruiting services with us, I'll drop an email in the chat. You guys can email this person if you would like us to recruit people for you. We're working on this offer still. It's not completely done. But these are like my favorite places to go find people. Now, this isn't a recruiting workshop, but I am going to give you a little bit more of this, right? So obviously the thing about recruiting is that it is a sales and marketing activity. So everything that you apply, everything that I talked about tonight applies to recruiting as well. Which is why very early in the beginning of this, I mentioned the fact that, hey, look, like
everything that you learn here tonight is applicable in your business, with your friends, with your family, with whoever in your life. Now that you guys have this could completely change your life forever, to be honest. And when you're finding people to work for you, it's a sales and marketing activity. You're prospecting people on LinkedIn, on Indeed, on Facebook groups, and you want to essentially funnel hack and take your top competitors and essentially copy and paste, not plagiarize, but copy and paste it to make it your own. I'm just going to write it here. Make it your own. Find what they're doing, copy and paste it, and make it your own. Make it for yourself, right? Make sure that you know the targets that someone needs to hit for them to make $10,000 a month. That's what average closers want to make. Most closers want to make $10,000 to $20,000 a month. So when you're hiring these people, make sure that you have a comp plan that incentivizes them to make $10,000 a month while also doesn't bankrupt you, right? I find a very good starting commission for most salespeople is like 10%. But it also depends on their workload. Are you going to give them inbound leads? Are they going to have to go prospect for you, right? You got to kind of work this all into your job offering on, how are their targets actually achievable? Can they actually hit their targets to meet their incentive plan and so forth, right? How do we do Facebook groups? Because most are not allowed to private message people. So this is an Andrewism here. I just honestly, I don't care about those rules. I know a lot of Facebook groups ask you not to solicit members. So here's how you get around it. So say you have this Facebook group here and you have the members section, right? And then the whole list of members come in. How I would do it, I would add each person as a friend and I would send them the same message. I would say, hey, name, what's up? And the best Facebook groups are the ones where people pay to join them. Just like, to be honest, like if people are running paid advertising to a group, or if people are paying to join the group, right, on a low ticket offer, those are the best groups to join, or ones that are extremely engaged and you know that there are tons of sales coming from that group, right? Those are the best Facebook groups. Now, you're going to get caught at some point. So the way that you get the members list every day is you take a fake profile that you never send messages from. Never send messages from this profile. Join that group, and every single day, download the PDF of this members list, and then take your real profile and message those people every single day. That's how you cold outbound on Facebook groups. Or you can make your own Facebook group and invite people to that Facebook group and post all your content in there. Let's see. And guys, let me know if you have any other questions. And at the same time, guys, as well, if you're interested, if you're not in my funding program and you're interested in getting funding to invest in things like recruiting services or invest in things like marketing and advertising, right? And if you want access to funding to invest in those different things, text this phone number. And if you're already a member, obviously just message your funding supervisor on Voxer. But if you're not a member yet, text that phone number, your credit score, and the word funding. How often do I do sessions like this? Every Tuesday, I'll do a different topic. So tonight was just sales and closing. How do you become a member of the funding program? So your first step would just simply be text this phone number here on this screen, or drop your phone number and your credit score in the chat, and someone on my team can reach out to you. And someone's saying, can I drop mine too? Yes, you could drop your phone number and your credit score in this chat as well. And I see a couple of my own members are messaging me too. So I'm just going to take a minute to quietly respond to those inquiries. All right, cool. So
For members who sent private messages, I'm going to attend your things right after this. And then anyone else who's interested in getting started with our funding program, you could obviously text this phone number on the screen. I'll upload this replay sometime this week to YouTube, so that way you guys can go back and watch it. But otherwise, it's always a pleasure every Tuesday night getting the opportunity to speak with everyone here and cover a different topic about funding, business, or investing. Hope everyone has a great week, and I will talk to you all again soon.